Hello! Welcome to a new video. Oh, I should fix my hair. One sec. Hello! Welcome to a new video. Today we are making this lovely dress. I am so excited. It's with one of my favorite patterns. I'll put a link in the description. Let's just get into it, okay? I started by cutting out the eyelet and lining layers. Then I pinned and sewed the bodice together following the instructions in the pattern. I'm not giving you a lot of details on this step, mostly because I really want you guys to support this small business because it's kind of fantastic and I really like this pattern. So link in the description, go buy this pattern. The skirt was a little less straightforward, mostly because pockets are a must as well as a free floating lining. I started by pinning the pocket pieces to both the eyelet and the lining layer, and then I sewed them together. After everything was sewn, I cut into the seam allowance. My camera went fuzzy, but essentially you want to make a little snip here. I do mine at an angle to help prevent fraying and make the seam allowance easier to handle. You'll see. Then you'll want to sew the pockets together. If you're a good sewist, unlike me, you will press the pockets first. But who has time to let the iron heat up? Come on, we're making this project in like a day. After you've sewn around the pocket, turn your project to prepare for sewing the side seam of the lining. You'll want to pull the eyelet fabric away from the stitch line. If the eyelet fabric gets caught at this point, you will have to unpick, which isn't very fun. So just be aggressive with it and let out some internalized anger at 2020. Once all of the eyelet fabric is out of the way, sew the side seam of the lining. Now, that eyelet fabric. You should be able to pull out the seam allowance and maneuver everything else around it to sew the side seam. It might take a couple of tries, but it'll work, I promise. After the side seams are in place, gather down the skirt and then pin and sew it to the bodice. At this point, I really needed to try it on because anxiety was telling me to, so I sewed in the zipper really fast. So I goofed and the dress is 2 inches too small, so I can't zip it up, but we're gonna fix that. So let me show you how I'm gonna fix it on this dress. I measured out a 2.5-inch strip of fabric as well as the eyelet layers. The eyelets did take a little bit longer to work out because I was working with limited fabric and I wanted the pattern to match the best I could to hide my mistake. If no one knows, it never happened, right? I appliqued the extender piece to the back of the dress with a small zigzag stitch, being careful to match up the pattern as close as possible. We're hiding mistakes. No one will know what is there. So I just finished it, and on camera you can't really see it. Let's bring you close. So I just stitched right along and I tried to match up the pattern the best that I could, and it looks really good. I mean, it looks better than this piecing job, so I'm happy with it. I will probably go over this again with another zigzag and like actually stitch it down to the lining just so it's more secure and won't pull apart in the wash. So there's that. Let's get on to the finishing work, shall we? To finish the neckline, I pinned some leftover scalloped edging, which I had just enough of. The sleeves are getting finished with elastic. Just like my other dress using the same pattern, I sewed the elastic directly into the casing using a zipper foot. So I feel like I did a terrible job filming this, but I guess I'll see when I go to edit. Anyway, the scallop is on. I actually like the soft feel that gives the neckline. I'm not a big fan of how it just is doing what it wants, but I guess it's just doing what it wants. Anyway, like my other dress, I finished the hem with some elastic, so that way it would be nice and comfortable. And then the skirt is nice and long. It's a good T-length skirt, and I am really happy with it. The pocket blends in really nicely to the side, which is fantastic. I will take that. And then as far as the piecing goes in the back, I did run another zigzag along it. In person, it's fairly noticeable. I think it's because I used embroidery thread, which has a satin finish to it, versus a regular thread, but I didn't have any regular thread. But I also did piecing on these pieces, which I don't think looks horrible. So the back is all pieced together, but it's not the end of the world, and it actually, I feel like, looks really nice. So I'm gonna go put this on and we'll see. Alright, thank you so much for joining me on today's sewing adventure. I will see you guys next week with a new video on Monday, and I'll see you live on Thursday. Bye guys!